Hey, good morning. Good morning. This is the AskZena radio show on the Good News radio station. My apologies. I was on mute, so we're doing this all over again. You know what? I have no problem with admitting that I am a flawed individual, that I have issues, right? One is that I just need to get it right. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. We are going to be talking about your center of energy. And obviously I was a little off balance, but thank you so very much for joining us on the Good News radio station. Hello. We are going to talk about your 7 centers of energy, better known as your chakras. And I'm going to tell you how to spot and identify when you are in alignment and out of alignment with your chakras. And we're just going to have a conversation. So thank you for joining me on the Good News radio station. This is Coach AskZena. And you know, I am all about the Asians, manifestation, creation, imagination, and just living your best life, right? So I am a career coach, life coach, and spiritual coach. And I try to help you tap into your abundant capacity within. So we probably will have a guest jump out and join us in a moment. We'll see if she's available. But all is well. You know what? I can laugh at myself because even though I make mistakes and I do silly things, it's just important to just laugh at yourself and just go with the flow, whatever the energy is, because all things are temporary. That moment that I had for 13 minutes when I was talking to myself was a temporary moment, but it's all good now. So thank you so very much for joining us. I want to thank everyone who came out to the showcase on Saturday. It was sold out. We had 40 personalities there. Yes, 40 Good News family personalities. You know, we have 2 studios, right? We have the sports studio and we have Studio One where we do all of our podcasts. Yes, thank you so very much. All is well in here and we are doing it, having a good time. Yeah. So I have a couple of announcements and then we're going to jump out. Today we're going to talk about your personal centers of energy, which are your chakras. And I'm going to go through those and just give you some healing information because what happens when you're out of balance. So if you're out of balance emotionally, then it will start, if you continue to be out of balance, it will start to manifest in the physical form. And so you will start to have some physical things that will manifest that will show you that you are completely out of alignment. And there's just some real easy fixes. So if ever you want to reach out to me, you can always reach out to me and just ask, and we can get those in alignment for you really quickly. I actually have a chakra assessment where we look at your energy fields and we tell you if you're out of balance, because such as I said, these things will manifest into physical things. And so we're going to go through that. So anyway, but thank you so very much for joining. I'm going to share a quick story with you and then I'm going to give you some announcements and then we are going to jump into this. I am already late, but better late than never. Thank you, Keith, for letting me know that I was on mute. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at my phone, trying to multitask. And obviously I didn't do that well. So, yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about what happened to me Saturday. Saturday was my birthday, and I did some volunteering in the morning with about 300 women at a conference, and then went home for a quick nap. Then went all the way to Hollywood to the Met Theater, and was in this showcase with these amazing people at the Good News family. So yes, it was a busy day, but what happened afterwards, so I have my car is really low, and it's a sports car, and it's really low. And so, the roads here in LA, they're horrible. And so at night, if your car is really low, you probably don't see some things that you're about to hit. So I hit something, and the lining of my fender was cracked, and so it was flapping all over the place as I drove 23 miles home, and people were trying to stop me and tell me, and I get it. I pulled over. I saw that I wasn't in danger. If I would have got my AAA card out and towed my car, but I didn't. So I saw that it was just a plastic lining and figured, you know what, I'll take it to the body shop on Monday or whatever. Anyway, long story short, so I take it to the mechanic on Monday at the top of the hill. He's a great guy. And he basically, fixed that, so I didn't have to go to a body shop for free. But while he was underneath my car, he noticed that there was something wrong with my brakes. And so this is how you transfer energy. It was like $500 to get fixed, and that's a lot of money. I understand that, and I wasn't in the mood, nor had I budgeted to pay for that. But thank goodness that happened, because I was able to now drive safe. I drive distance back and forth, and I'm all over the city, and I didn't know something was wrong with my brakes. I didn't know that the left arm was cracked on my brakes. And so I chalk that up to, I hit something on the freeway, something in the road, but that prompted me to go to the mechanic, which now I'm driving safe and my brakes feel great. So because I have a really low car, I did feel some imbalance, and we're going to talk about imbalances today. But I did feel some imbalance, but I just didn't pay attention to it because I thought it was the road, but actually it was something more severe and more dangerous to me. So I know it's like, how do you go from you crack something on your car and it's going to be expensive to then having to shell out $500, because shit happens, right? And so am I going to sit there and mope and groan about this happening? I'm on the road now and I'm doing fine. And thank goodness that my brakes didn't go out while I was on the freeway and hit someone and all of these other things, So I looked at it actually now as a blessing. Wasn't a blessing to me Saturday night on my birthday, but I look at it now as a blessing. And so I want to show you how you can shift your energy really, really quickly, and how to understand when you're out of balance and out of alignment with who it is that you really are, and what it is that you need to accomplish here. I get out of balance all the time, and I have to quickly shift myself into another gear because we're dealing with so much stuff here in life and in the world, and just stuff. And so we just have to learn how to change things around and not go down that rabbit hole as to the problem in dealing with stuff. So all right, one other very important announcement that I want to make is so, I've talked about AVOW, AVOW, which is Authentic Voices of Women. It's a group that I have, and we're going to be putting together a sizzle reel, but we're going to be doing some filming around the city with women who want to share their story, who want to be part of 40 Questions. And it's going to be really fun. It's going to be interactive. Basically, you're going to be sharing your information and your experiences and your gifts with other women. So we'll be meeting at different places. I have a videographer who's going to help film that. I have a producer who's going to help facilitate that. And then we're going to splice and dice that and put it into a sizzle reel for a web series that I am I'm creating sort of a docu-web series just all about women. So if you want to share your story, if you are so empowered, I will tell you that even if you're not empowered, it is so critical that you share your story with other women. There are women that are going through things. There's probably a single mother that ruined her car, or her car got broke down on Saturday. And if she's listening to my story, then maybe she's taking some encouragement from that to say, you know what, I had to fix the car anyway. So rather than sulk in all of that misery of, oh, woe is me, she realized I had to fix the car anyway, and maybe it could have been much worse. Maybe my kids could have been in the car, and it was uplifting to her to shift her energy. So please let your past heal your future. Share your story with other women. If you don't want to be on camera and you want to do that via the podcast, reach out to me on all the social media channels and contact me, coach.askzena@gmail.com. If you're not here in California, you can be on my podcast and share your story, or you can be on the web series and share your story. We can just connect you via the internet. But if you are here local, I would love to have you be part of our tribe and share and help other people, because that's my mission and intention. All right. I felt like I had to go through this. I had to rewind myself in my mind to go through this all over again. But it's me. Like, Keith, just know I don't even know how to program a remote. So I'm going to be one of those women where I don't know how to program a remote. It frustrates me. I don't ever buy anything from IKEA because I don't know how to put anything together. I have screwdrivers, I have hammers, but I am not that girl. Not that I'm too, prissy or anything like that. I'm just not that girl. I just don't know how to do that. But if you ask me anything about business, you ask me anything about hiring people, finding people, identifying business opportunities, spirituality, meditation, helping other people, I am your girl. I will be there to help you, hands down, arms around, right? But I just don't do that. I don't know how to. I locked myself out of my own apartment because I was trying to change the lock, and I I put the lock in the wrong way. I literally had to have a neighbor come and jimmy my door open because some sort of way I was able to close the door with the lock being backwards. Okay, that's me. Enough. Give you something to laugh at, because I laugh at myself all the time. So let's talk about these 7 chakras, right? All right. So your root chakra is in your growing area. So that's where we're going to go, from that space all the way up to the top of your head, which is your crown. And I'm going to tell you about them. And I'm going to tell you what happens when you're out of balance. Remember, we manifest things first through our thoughts and through our spirit. So if we look at this as a door, your thoughts are one door, your spirit is another door, and the physical is another door. And so when you are out of balance, if you stay in those door spaces for too long, you will start to see the physical manifestation of the misalignment with your chakra. So let's talk about the root chakra. The purpose of the root chakra is to ground you, is to physically ground you. So if you feel like you are off balance, like you don't have a foundation, you don't know what you're doing, you are just out there and the world is out there and it's moving around you, then chances are you're out of balance with your root chakra. Again, in the growing area, right? And so first things is, if you have emotional imbalances, you're probably going to feel that your survival needs are not met. Some of those people are feeling like they're just struggling through life and it's paycheck to paycheck. They're not making enough money. Maybe they have issues with housing issues. Maybe they have issues with food. This is the foundation. These are the things that we need in the world. We need a home. We need money. We need shelter. We need food. And so these are the necessities of life. So if you feel that there are attacks on your necessities of life, you're not living in a good place. You're not eating right. Maybe you don't have the money for food. Maybe you don't have shelter, and you're not living in a good place or space. That is your root chakra. That is your root, and you are out of balance. And so what happened is you probably had some thoughts like, I'm not going to be able to eat today. I can't afford this food. I can't afford this electricity bill. I can't afford my rent. Where's the money? Those sorts of things. So those are the thoughts. That's one door. Then they manifest into emotional imbalances, which start to then affect you being able to live in the reality, in the mental space of everything is going to be okay. What happens is now you're emotionally out of balance. So now you're doing a lot of worrying. But here's what happens when you are physically out of balance. Maybe you're not able to stand. Maybe you're not able to walk. You might start to have some muscle problems. You're not able to get grounded. So here's a way to test that. If you can't think about the emotional things and you're just like, life is a struggle, right? Then stand still for 3 minutes. And if you're moving around and swaying around and you can't do that, then chances are that there is an emotional balance to your root chakra. When you're in balance, you feel fully supported and you have a sense of connection and safety to the physical world and life around you. So when you are in balance and you're in alignment with your root chakra, you feel that the world is supporting you. You've heard me say this before. We live in a friendly universe, and the universe is always supporting us. So that's what that feels like, where you could walk out your door and you're like, you know what? Today is going to be a good day no matter what comes my way. That's when you're in balance with your root chakra. Hey, I'm going to go high level with some of these, but I'm going to try to be on layman's terms so you understand them. If you have any questions, you need any answers, reach out to me at coach.askZena. I can send you some information. We can talk a little bit more about it. We can understand where you are in your life balance. So chakra number 2 is the spleen. So if you take your hand from the growing area and just your hand and open up your palm, then go up where your thumb resides is going to be chakra number 2, which is your spleen. So this chakra is all about being able to take risks, being able to look at opportunities and take risks. So if you are a worrywart, I'm myself included, and you can't see opportunities and you can't see that there are things that are being presented to you, and you can't take the risk, or maybe there's just some people who are just so darn scared that they just don't want to go outside. I met a woman, and real talk, I met a woman who has incontinence. That's when the leaky bladder. And she, beautiful woman, it happened to her in her 40s, and she no longer feels like she can go outside and do activities with her family because of this issue. So she's isolated herself. So whatever that might be, maybe it's, your physical, you're not comfortable with your physical stature, and you're just not, you don't want to go outside, or you don't want to take any risk, and going outside could be a risk to some people. So again, this is all about you taking risks, seeing opportunities. It's also you tapping into your creativity. And it's also whether you can commit to anything. So can you commit to a job? Can you commit to a relationship? Can you commit to a financial plan? Can you commit to your child? I know that's crazy because some people are like, yeah, I can commit to my child. No, really, seriously. Can you commit to your child and make the effort so that your child lives a happy, healthy life? Not just see them once a month and send a paycheck through Child Protective Services or whatever. Okay, I digress. Anyway, this is about when you're in balance, you feel passionate about life. Your sexuality and your ability to attract others sexually is imbalance. You are outgoing. So let's talk about when you're out of balance emotionally with your spleen chakra, which is your second chakra. When you're out of balance, that can include your ability to commit to relationships. Doesn't have to be intimate relationships, could be personal relationships, could be your boss, could be people, your next door neighbor. You also don't have the ability to be playful or to have fun. Everything is it's daunting. You're not tapping into your creativity. And, so that's the emotional imbalance. When there's physical imbalances, check this out. Remember, we walk through the door of our thoughts. We walk through the door of our emotions. Now we're walking through the door of physical manifestation of imbalances with your spleen. That has to do with your sexuality. Whether you feel comfortable, male, female, transgender, whatever, that has to do with your sexuality. And it has to do with reproductive issues. It also can have issues with problems with your kidneys and dysfunctions with your hip, pelvic, lower back. So those are all physical manifestations. That means that thought has been in your mind for a while, and now you started to worry through it. So you've gone through that door. Now it's affecting your spirit. Now it's showing up physically. The reason why I'm going through all of these doors is because at any point you can turn this around. At any point you can turn this around. There are different ways of turning that around. Maybe I'll do part 2 next week on turning that around. But I just wanted you to understand. So if you're hearing me say, oh, I do have some kidney issues, or my hip has been bothering me, or my pelvic area has been bothering me, or my lower back, there's an imbalance, and your body is trying to tell you. Your body is trying to get you back into the balance of things. All right. Number 3. Okay. Again, take your hand and then move it up. And then that's going to be your third chakra, right? That's in the solar plexus. That's your third chakra. These are your personal energy. These are your personal centers of energy. So if you don't want to look up chakras, just know that every human being on this planet has a personal center of energy, right? And so the purpose of this third chakra is for you to feel like you're in control. This is where you feel confident. This is where you feel assertive. This is where you feel you have a voice. This is where you feel like you can communicate what's going on, what thoughts are in your mind, right? So when you are out of balance emotionally, when you're out of balance emotionally, this can include your personal power. Do you feel like you have personal power? Do you feel like you are in control and have power over your life? What about your self-esteem? This affects your self-esteem. This also affects the inner critic inside of you. That, good angel, bad angel, constantly talking you in your mind, that tennis game that you're playing. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this is right. Maybe that's not right. Are they looking at me? They may not be looking at me. Why aren't they looking at me? I think they should be looking at me. All of that craziness, right? That's the emotional imbalance. And so, again, it affects your personal power, your self-esteem, your inner critic, and it comes out in fears. All types of fears. Fears are negative. Fears of rejection, fears of criticism, fears of your physical appearance, fear of your capacity. So you can have multi-imbalances. When I've done this, I've seen people who had almost all of them imbalanced. And they were completely out of alignment, and their life showed it. And the reflection of not having a job, being worried, being overcritical, being judgmental, having hatred, all of that stuff shows up. So also in the solar plexus, when it's physically imbalanced, right, we're walking through that third door, you would have digestive problems, liver dysfunction, chronic fatigue, high blood pressure, diabetes, stomach ulcers, issues with your pancreas or gallbladder issues, maybe even colon issues. So this really, the third chakra is really about feeling self-respect, feeling self-compassion, feeling like you're in control, like you have a voice. You're assertive and you're confident. Again, when it's out of balance emotionally, it's going to affect your self-esteem, the inner critic, and it's going to have to do with your fears. And you're going to experience, probably, if you don't get a hold of things, you're going to experience stomach issues, maybe borderline diabetes. Maybe you have diabetes. I don't know. But those are some of the things that you're going to experience. So let's go on to number 4. Where did it go? There it is. I want to also tell you about some foods and stuff like that will really help you to shift things around and get things back in balance, right? I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you for tuning into the Good News Radio Station. This is Coach AskZena. Today we're talking about learning how to balance out your personal energy and learning about your 7 chakras. I hope that this is good information for you, and I hope you'll share it, and hey, don't feel bad. Comment. If you don't like it, cool. If you like it, cool, better, right? Give me a comment on any of the social media platforms on Instagram and or Facebook, because I'm a Facebook person. Okay. So number 4, again, we were at number 3. So take your finger, open your hand, go up to the thumb area where your hand lands, and you'll see that now we're in the heart. We're in the heart chakra. That's number 4. And what is the heart chakra? That's all about love and joy and gratitude and compassion and forgiveness. Forgiveness, let it flow freely. Not just, I'll forgive, but let it flow freely. And trust. You trust. You trust people. You can trust easily. So that's what the heart is all about. It's all about that good stuff. But just in case you've been thinking about some things and you're out of balance emotionally, that's going to affect you in the heart area. And this is one that I have with, have you ever heard of overloving? I talked about that last week when I was talking about my situation with my son. We can overlove. The best example of an overlover that I can give you, and I think about myself when I think about this image. If you've ever watched Everyone Loves Raymond and you watch Marie is an overlover. She overloves Raymond so much that it's at the detriment of all these other relationships. And she's very critical and she treats Robbie just horribly, but it's one of my favorite shows. Anyway, so when you are in emotional imbalance with your heart, you can overlove to the point of suffocating. Isn't that interesting? So overlove, what is an example of today's overlove? Would be demanding that someone call you back right away while they're in a meeting, texting, calling someone back to back, because your time is more important than their time and really you don't have anything to say. Overloving could be stalking. Overloving could be, it actually can be displayed as anger. So overloving doesn't have to be a good emotion. It could be a displayment of anger if that person is frustrated and they're over, it's just over. You overcook that steak. Well, what's going to happen? It's going to get a little burnt. It's still a steak. It's still edible, but you just overcooked it. I like my steaks medium rare, but I no longer eat beef. So anyway, so it's suffocation. It's suffocation. It's jealousy. It's abandonment. So many people have abandonment issues and they don't even realize. And it just comes out in just different personality characteristics. So abandonment, maybe you felt abandoned by your mom, maybe you felt abandoned by your dad, maybe you felt abandoned in a relationship and it's coming out. So also anger, bitterness, fear of being lonely, right? That's when you're in balance. That's when you're out of balance. Sorry. You're out of balance and those are the things that you're feeling. So now you felt those things and you didn't do anything about them. So now it's going to be the physical imbalance, which, listen to this. The physical imbalance is when you've been sitting with the worrying, the thoughts for so long that they've manifested into your emotions. And now they're overtaking your emotions to now they have to come out in a physical manifestation. Physical imbalances in the heart chakra area include asthma, right? Heart disease, heart palpitation, lung disease, issues in your breasts, lymphatic system issues, upper back issues, shoulder problems, arm and or wrist pain. That's when they've manifested into, you've been sitting with this way too long, this imbalance, and you are not in alignment in your heart area. Asthma. Wow. That's interesting. So now we're going to move on to number 5, the 5th chakra area. Take your finger, placing it on your heart, and then open your hand, and then use your thumb. Just expand your hand till you get to, the furthest of it, the expansion. And now you're at the throat area, right? And that is the 5th chakra. And that's going to be about you being able to communicate and talk to people. So let's see. We are here, and the throat area, it's how you communicate. It's how you share your thoughts, how you share what is in your mind, what's going on in terms of what you're feeling. And so it is all about communication. And so let's say you've been suppressing. Let's say at work you haven't been clear. Let's say in a relationship you've been suppressing. Someone has frustrated you. They've hurt you, and you haven't expressed that. So that's the throat chakra, and you're going to be sitting with that. A lot of us have issues in that area. The lesson of that is, of this chakra, is that it needs you to speak up and use your voice. Let your voice be heard. There are people that are really meek and mild. There are people that just never use their voice. I kind of felt like that was me at the showcase. Like I was in the back and didn't want to really play any games, and so I kind of felt like that was me at the showcase, just in case you saw that. But yeah, I have issues too. I'm working on me. I'm always under construction. So if you've sat with, you haven't used your voice, you haven't shared what's on your mind, you haven't expressed yourself, then you've gone through that door. And then chances are that you are experiencing some emotional imbalances there, where so not only have you not used your voice, but you're not a good listener. So again, the purpose of this chakra is to speak up and let your voice be heard, but also to hear other people. And so when it's imbalanced, that includes your self-expression through communication, broken ability through spoken word, and also written. So maybe your texts are coming out crazy too. Fear that you have no power or have no choice. Fear that you have you don't have the willpower, or that you're completely out of control. When this is imbalance, when your throat chakra is imbalance, you feel free. You feel free flowing with your words and expression and communication, and you're honest and you're truthful and you're firm in your communication. And then you're a good listener. But when you're out of balance, you're not communicating well and you're not listening well. Nor do you feel like people want to hear you or that they would even care, right? So now we walk through that first door, we walk through the second door. How this manifests physically is it'll manifest in thyroid issues, sore throat, laryngitis, TMJ, ear infections, ulcers, facial problems, whether it has to do with the cheek, the chin, the lips. Sometimes I don't get stuff right. The tongue, which I just had a problem with, so better check myself. The neck, the shoulder. So those are issues with your communication, issues with your expression. And again, when they get to the physical manifestation, it's really, life is really calling you to stand up and stand in your truth, because the physical manifestation could get much worse. I mean, some of these can go into other things. And so you want to stop it as you start to see stuff. You want to stop it as you start to feel stuff. You want to stop it as you start to hear stuff in your mind. All right. Taking your finger from your heart, opening your hand, moving it up. You're going to be in, actually it's going to be a little higher than that. So you're going to be in the brow area. So which is the middle between your eyes, like right above your nose, between your eyebrows. And that is called, it's the sixth chakra. It is the brow area. And so this is about seeing the big picture in life. This is about you. This is about Coach AskZena helping you manifest the best life possible. This is about you tapping into your capacity. This is about, do you have visions and plans for your life? Do you see yourself doing something? Do you want to accomplish something? What is it that you can see in your mind? This is about your imagination, right? So this chakra is all about the big picture, all about the big picture in life. That's what it is. So do you have a vision for yourself? Are you just out there just every day doing the same thing over and over and letting life happen to you versus you being the co-pilot and really sailing and experiencing and elevating and reaching new heights? So if you don't have a vision for your life, then this is it. Trust me, there is an imbalance here. So this is all about, if there's an emotional imbalance, it has to do with your moodiness, your vitality, your self-reflection, the inability to look at one's fears and learn from others. Maybe you're a daydreamer. There's so many people who are like, as soon as I hit the lottery, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Yeah, well, I'm going to make it too, but I've been playing the lottery for many, many, many years. And I think I had cashed in like 14 tickets and I won $3. And out of those 14 tickets, it's $2. So that's $28. And if I played two, it goes on. And I was like, I get $3. That's it. I mean, that's barely enough to buy a Pepsi. Anyway, so when you're out of balance, you also, you daydream and you're wondering and you don't think that life has too much to offer you. You have a narrow linear focus of what your surroundings are. Maybe you're living in a community and you're like, I'll never get out of this community. I'll never get to travel. I know people who have never gone out of this state, or maybe they've never gone to another country, or maybe they've never been on an airplane, right? So it's the big picture. It's living in those fears, and then the imbalances show up. And so they're not able to experience things. They're not able to use their imagination. And so when this chakra is all in balance, you feel clear, focused, you're determined. You know the difference between truth and illusion. Boy, we can talk about this one on the narcissism part 1, right? Because those individuals are living in an illusion of this grandiose vision of what they think life should be for them, and everyone else doesn't matter, right? It's all about them, all about them, all about them. So when you are open, you receive wisdom and insight. So the physical imbalances would include headaches, migraines, blurred vision, sinus issues, eye strains, seizures, hearing loss, or hormone imbalances. So take a look at that. Like, are are some of these things showing up in your life? And the reason why I'm going through this and just sharing this is because sometimes we tolerate. I did this workshop on navigating the darkness. We know how to navigate the darkness within our own circle of life, within our own community, within our own household so well that we can't conceive or imagine things getting better. We want them. We hope, we wish, but hope and wish, I mean, those are temporary. That's not moving and creating and carving out the life that you desire and require. So a lot of us have hopes and wishes and dreams and but do nothing about them. And so I'm showing you where your life is speaking to you, where there's imbalances emotionally and or physically, so that you can make that shift, because you are an amazing person. You do have this amazing capacity to live a wonderful life. We see these things happening every day where 14-year-olds, I just saw a post on Facebook where there's a 14-year-old who just got her PhD, and she's 14 and she's going to open her own bank in Africa at 15 years old. I mean, man, at 15 years old, I was ditching school. So these people are tapping into their capacity and doing some amazing things, and I want you to be able to do that as well. So let's get into the last chakra here, and let's talk about this. So that is the crown. That is the top of your head. That is about you living in a state of mindfulness. That is about me speaking for 13 minutes and not even realizing that I was on mute, and being able to bounce back into this moment, into this time, versus forget this. I drove 2 hours to get here and I'm just not going to deal with this because I just couldn't figure this out. Or me get so frustrated with myself and my lack of technology and lack of desire to want to learn different things that, stop me from doing things, that maybe I don't want to drive 2 hours to come and talk to myself on a microphone, that maybe I don't feel like my audience is growing large enough. I'm not in mindfulness. I'm in fear. So when I get in my car to come here on Wednesdays, I'm in mindfulness that I am on a mission, intentional about coming here and sharing with you guys. And so I'm in a room by myself with a microphone, talking to myself. Could sound a little cray-cray, but I'm intentional. So I'm mindful about what I'm doing. So when your crown chakra is out of balance, you're just all over the place. You had conversations with people. I sat down with a woman on Saturday, and every conversation she was on my right, and she was having conversations with other women, and I was working the registration desk, and every person that came up to me to register, she was like, and what is their name? And where do you go? But she was still having another conversation with someone else. And I just wanted to say, look, stay in your lane. I'll do this. But everything that I said to someone, if I complimented someone on their shirt, she would say, oh yeah, that was a nice shirt. Oh yeah, I have one. My husband did it. But she was so all over the place that literally I left the event early because I just couldn't take the energy. And that wasn't rude. Let me just put a disclaimer on that. I was protecting my own energy because I knew I had some other things to do later on that night. I did that to protect my own energy. That was self-care. That was me setting up my own boundaries and having self-care. We don't have to experience someone's erratic behavior just because. I chose not to react to her. I chose not to engage with her. I chose not to make a comment to her, even though she frustrated the hell out of me. I chose not to do that. I just chose to remove myself from that space. So that was my choice. So that was about self-care. That was about me identifying something and me taking control over that. And that's what you can do. So lastly, crown chakra. So again, this is about you living in mindful moments and experiencing those mindful moments, whatever they might be. If you're not able to do that and you're like this woman or you're like other people that are all over the place, chances are you're that way in your mind. I know a person, it's so hard to have a conversation with this person. She is all over the place. And at any moment in a conversation, you could be talking about the weather or the ocean or the beach, and she's just like boo-hooing all over the place. And in 3 seconds, she's better. And I'm like, what just happened here? I invited her to the movies and I don't know what happened, but she's just all over the place. But yet in her home, her house is I want to hire her to clean my apartment because she's just the cleanest person. Sometimes it's hard for me to get there and move things around and clean things up the way because I'm just so busy. But she can center and focus. She's in her mindfulness when she's cleaning, but the rest of her life is all erratic. So when you are out of balance emotionally with the crown chakra, you will experience some rigid thoughts, and maybe there's some issues with you with religion or spirituality. Maybe you're struggling with what your beliefs are, what your faiths are. You will, what your faith is, you will also experience constant confusion. You will carry around prejudgments or preconceived judgments about everything. I know another person who loses jobs after jobs after jobs, and it's always like, well, they gave it to the Hispanic people, or, they gave it to the women who are younger than me, or, this always happens. And first of all, I tell her, is like, excuse me, my last name is Contreras. I'd be Hispanic too. So it's not like we're getting better opportunities because. So these people live with preconceived notions, and they just manifest. It's like, you know what? They're probably going to lay me off anyway. And guess what happens? 3 months later, they get laid off. So they have very rigid thoughts, and they're very critical of other people in their spirituality and their religious beliefs. And they experience analysis paralysis because they overanalyze, they overthink, and they just are paralyzed in their thoughts, and they never get anything going. These are also people. I know of a man in Phoenix. He's always coming up with a new business, and they sound amazing, but he never takes any action. He never does anything to make that business whole. He never does anything to even get the business off the ground. Great ideas, can sit together and put up a business plan in 24 hours and write out all of these things, but cannot move beyond that. So analysis paralysis. Their fear, they fear alienation. But what they do is they alienate people all the time. The fear of alienation actually alienates people. When you're perfectly in balance with your crown chakra, you live in a moment of present time. You experience all these life experiences, and you are joy-filled. Joy-filled, not happiness. Joy-filled. You've tapped into that place. You have unshakable trust in your own inner guidance, in your own power to choose. When you're physically out of balance, you might experience depression, inability to learn something new, sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound, sensitivity to the environment around you. Things just piss you off. Motorcycles driving piss you off. People with those loud mufflers piss you off. That's a physical imbalance because you're physically experiencing something as a result of something else around you. Yeah. Wow. That was a lot of information, right? That was a lot of information. Think about it. Re-listen to this. Share this with people. I mean, you may even see some people that you are engaged with on a regular basis, and they're experiencing, or they're telling you they're having some physical ailments, or maybe you're seeing them have depression, or maybe you're seeing them have sensitivity to light, or these sorts of things. And you might just say, hey, you might want to check this out. Do your research, get to know some more information. Hey, if you certainly want to reach out to me, I can give you more information, and I can share this assessment with you that actually gave all of those details that I just shared with you. You can reach out to me at coach.askzena at Gmail, or Instagram AskZena, or Facebook AskZena. Hey, the reason why I do what I do is because I know that you have the power within you to live an amazing life. If you knew all of my story, if you knew where I came from, if you knew what I did and what I didn't do, how I felt and how I abused myself, how I allowed other people to take advantage of me, and the fact that I can get up every day and still want to help people, still want to believe that there are good people out in the world. If you knew my story, you would know that you can do the same thing. You could do the same thing. You could live an amazing life. You can live the life that you desire. You can live the life that you require. You can start to help your children live a better life, right? Just start with yourself. You are the source of energy for your whole community. If you think about it that way, that you are the source of energy for your whole community, and you are that beacon of light, then maybe you'll start to let your light shine just a little bit brighter, just a little bit louder. You'll start to use your voice. You'll start to do different things. And energy creates energy. So I want you to be able to tap into and understand your own personal centers of energy so that more can come to you, so that you can live from a space of wholeness and happiness. I'm not saying it happens every day. Heck, I just told you I spent $500 on getting my darn car fixed, right? And I got other things to do. But all is well. All is well. Thank you so very much for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show. Check me out every Wednesday and check out all the other personalities on the Good News radio station. I am out. This is Coach Ask Zena, and thank you for letting me share with you today. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to reach out to me if you want to participate in any of our activities.